What's up, guys? Welcome to another Tejas Club podcast gear video episode. Today we're going to be talking about our 2023 Whitetail bow setup.
Tejas Club Podcast is the podcast for you and you and you and you.
So not much has changed on my bow setup from last year, so I'm going to let Megan talk about hers first because she has made some adjustments and added some new things to her bow setup. So Megan, tell us what you did.
To start out, I have a Bowtech Admiral left-handed bow. If you haven't seen our previous posts, I'm right-handed, but I'm left-eye dominant, so I've had to learn to shoot left-handed, which has been quite the adventure, strengthening up that left side. So I did make some adjustments this year because I'm much stronger than last year. The first major upgrade that I made was a Spot Hog Fast Eddy XL 2-pin sight. The best thing about this sight, in my opinion, is that compared to last year, I was very limited to a 20 or 30 yard range, whereas now I can dial all the way to 50 or 60 yards. Today, I hit a 50 yard max with my fletching starting to hit that sight. And so that's why I made a trip to archery country today in Austin and bumped my weight up from 48.5 to 53.
53 pounds, baby.
I have been working out, so I'm super proud that I was able to easily pull that back, and that was not a challenge for me. I also added a true glow stabilizer on the front. This is something I did not have last year, and I wasn't really sure if I needed it or if it would really make a difference in my shooting, but I have found that it helps me a little bit more when it comes to keeping that long hold. So I've been able to really balance it and having a little bit more forward weight and just being able to hold for longer, in my opinion. So that's been a really cool enhancement for me. So that's it for the bow setup. When it comes to my arrows, I do shoot a carbon arrow. This is a 500 grain Easton Axis arrow. I have been told that I need to be shortening these just a little bit. I'm learning quite a bit, especially today, about what enhancements I can be making, but they didn't recommend making all of those 2 weeks before we go do our hunt this fall. Yeah. So I haven't made a ton of changes. I did get the draw weight changed, but outside of that, I'm excited to see how everything performs this year. As far as broadheads, last year I used a 100 grain Muzzy hybrid, and this year I'm switching to probably the Grim Reapers that Brandon's using, so he can tell you a little bit more about what those are like. Yeah, so I'll start off with those since we're going into that. So I'm shooting the Grim Reaper Pro Series Mini Mags. They're a hybrid broadhead. It's 100 grains, 4 blade, and it's going to give you a 2.5 inch cut. So I like running the hybrids. I think it's a good mix of both the fixed blade and the mechanical aspect to get that larger cut diameter. From what I've seen shooting these from the last couple years, actually, I mean, right out of the package, going on to my arrows and shooting with them has been pretty easy. There's not much difference that I've seen. I think the farthest shot that I've made so far with them was like 37 yards, so at that distance, there's no deviation from your fill points that you're shooting. I'll just go into my arrows before we touch on my bow, but normally I shoot the Black Eagle Renegades. It's 300 spine, like I said, with the 100 grain and then the 50 grain insert, so my arrows weigh in at about 450 grains. I like shooting the Black Eagle Renegades, but for a little while there, they were pretty tough to find. So as a backup arrow, when I can't get the Black Eagles, I'm also shooting the Easton Axis, but like I said, in the same weight, so my setup's still going to be the same as far as the weight goes. Now onto my bow setup. I am shooting Matthews V3X 29. Draw weight 65 pounds. I'm shooting at 261 feet per second with these arrows, so plenty enough speed on that. Going to my sight, I shoot a black gold Mountain Light Ascent. It's a 3-pin sight, slider, so I have it from all the way from 20, I can go down to about 80 yards. I've shot it that far a couple times at tack and stuff, but I did go through and change out my pins because I was running into the same issue that Megan was having. My arrows and my fletchings hitting my housing, so I did move that sight to where my pins are a little bit lower in the housing.
and then I raised the sight up so I could get a little bit more yardage on that. So it's been shooting great. I've shot out to 65 yards with it, and it's been hitting dead on, so I love this sight. I plan on maybe changing next year. There's another sight that came out that I want to try, but this one will definitely be tried and true, and as I'll use it on any bow setup. So I also have a stabilizer on the front. This is just a Matthew stabilizer that came with the bow when I purchased it, and then I'm running the QAD rest. I plan on changing this rest out also, and just updating it to one of the newer QAD rests. I'll just wait until after season to make that change, just so I can have it ready for tack and then shoot it then. So I think one of the coolest things that Matthews came out with their integrated stuff is the stand here. It gives you a nice place to set your bow down when you're retrieving arrows, or even when you're sitting in the blind. It gives it a place for it to sit and be ready to go when that buck or doe walks out, whatever you're getting ready to shoot. So if you have one of the newer Matthews bow, I think up from the Matthews V3 on up, this stand will work. So if you're in the market to get one of those new bows, even up to the Phase 4, this Matthews stand is going to work. So this is going to be our bow setup for 2023 whitetail season. We made some changes this year, and then we also plan on making some changes next year. It's fun to me just to play around and tinker with these bows and change different things. I love trying out new gear, and I mean that goes for my bow as well. So I'm excited to use it this year and then also make those changes next year and try and shoot a little better.
And hopefully I get my first kill this year.
Yeah.
So that's really the main goal for me, is to not worry about what I'm looking at, as long as I make a safe and ethical shot and get my first deer down. That's my biggest goal.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get there, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
So if y'all haven't already, please like, subscribe. We'd love to see the support from you guys. If you've been watching for a while, thank you so much for coming back and for the support. Make sure you check us out on Instagram as well. And then we also have a Facebook group, so Tejas Hunt Club Facebook group. Come share your pictures, your stories, brag on your kids, things like that. We just really like to see everybody out and about and enjoying the outdoors and really advocating for what we really care about, which is, conservation, wildlife, spending time outside at the core. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
I gotta get used to shooting with the hat again. And that's a wrap. Yeah? Let's see. I'm talking. Oh, look, we better find out. Ooh! That's a solid plate, baby. Oh, they did for sure.